everyone, welcome back to this, and we are doing a top 5 worst games of 2015. Now, I've already done a top 10 of 2015. That was actually, I think, my first top 10 video that I did. So now that I do top 5 worst games, figured I would just cover my bases and do 2015. All right, ready?
Yep.
So my number 5, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for these first 3. So my number 5 is Champions of Midgard.
Mind you, he's only played with 2 players. That's the caveat.
That's fine. I still didn't like it. It's number 5 for pretty much that reason. And that stupid, dumbass troll mechanic. I hate it so much. It's so dumb. If you don't know, Champions of Midgard is a dice worker placement game. Where, like, well, not really just dice. Those are your warriors.
It's worker placement.
But it is worker placement. And you're going throughout this village, this Viking village, to get enough stuff to battle creatures, which are worth points. And you also get extra points for their set collection. He definitely knows more about it than I do. Because it's been a while since I've played it. And it's been at least 2 years.
It's my number 1 game of 2015, by the way.
Yeah, that's why it's my number 5. Anyway, so what you're doing, the worker placement is perfectly fine. What puts it on this list for me is the fact that a spot that someone has to go to is a troll spot. And if you go there, and you fight the troll, that's fine. Then you get to come back to the village and you get to distribute shame to people. And shame are negative points depending on the number of tokens you have. You also get to get rid of one off of you. Right? Okay.
Or you get rid of one off of you to give to somebody.
Yeah, right.
So
anyway, and so the number of shame tokens that you have equal up to a certain number of victory points. Not like if you have 3, you have -5 points or something like that.
the worst that you can have is like minus 20. It's like
20, 25.
Something like that. It's
Yeah.
like the worst you can get.
Some
you got every round's troll. Shame
Right. Which is that's a lot of points to be, and it's not even so much that really makes me not like that mechanic. It's the fact that you don't even have the option to go. So there's only one spot to go to on the troll space. So it's pretty much whoever is first player is gonna go do that, just so they don't get negative points. And if they don't, then yeah, I guess that's their own fault. Then someone else will go do it. Or if no one does it, then everyone's getting shame. But what really bugs me is the fact that that can happen. Like, oh, I'm gonna go there. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting shame because I don't have the option to go to that spot. That's what really kills it for me. I've heard it's better with more people. I have no preference into that.
If you're a follower of his videos, we've had this conversation many times
Multiple
before.
times we have, yep.
It takes 2 turns to get rid of your negative points if you got every single token.
Oh, really? How?
You get to kill 2 monsters down in the water. The beasts in the deal, because they're like worth 12 to...
Oh, right.
So, I mean, just...
Well, you have to...
While they're wasting time doing the troll, you go down there and do that, solved.
Right, but I mean, it's not... That still doesn't put you ahead because you're just canceling out your negative points.
Right, but like in a 2-player game, you're going to see that flux because it doesn't spread out. Every time I've played, everybody ends up getting about the same amount.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, it's strictly, and that's why it's at 5 because I haven't played it with more. But as the 2-player, and I've played it multiple times at 2 players. I didn't just do it once.
Right.
Like maybe it's a just coincidence that the first time, but nope. I really didn't like that. I also felt that like the rune cards weren't as like necessary, like to go to the Mystic's hut and get those rune cards. They were like, oh, what the fuck? Okay. Yeah, really, all you're doing is getting enough, dice, which are your warriors, and going to overseas to fight. That's really the base game. I haven't played any of the expansions.
Are awesome.
Are they? That's what I've heard. I've heard they're amazing.
Wonderful.
But the base game is just you're going off overseas to fight and hope you don't get screwed over by the ocean cards.
And your dice.
And your dice. So Yeah, so it's just like, I think it might be one of those things that, yeah, but that's another thing. It's like, oh no, it's a great game if you have this many people, if you have the expansions. It's like, I shouldn't have to do all that extra stuff, except maybe not just 2 players, but like I shouldn't have to have all the expansions to make the base game good.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, before the expansions came out, we were even debating this. It's just
Right.
You have more players. It's just spreads
Right.
out more.
So,
Anyway.
number 5, Champions of Midgard. Think we'll have any crossover?
No, well, maybe.
We might have one.
My number 5
We're not gonna
is,
have any.
and it's an expansion, but it's also a standalone game.
Standalone, gotcha.
And I brought it up earlier, and you did as well. It's Smash Up Munchkin.
Was that a standalone?
Yes, it is a standalone.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I went through and looked at it. It's a standalone expansion that can just be played, with it. So that's why I put it on the list, because of all of the Smash Up stuff, because that's one of our top games.
Mm-hmm.
The Munchkin stuff never gets touched. And
Yep.
then the one right before that, the next one that doesn't get touched very much is the Cthulhu one.
Oh, I like the Cthulhu one.
I mean, I
They're
said
definitely
we've played it, but
right. They're definitely situational there,
Right.
and like the Innsmouth people are like, they're probably
Right.
really garbage, but I like the madness
Right.
effect.
But anyway, the Munchkin expansion, I don't know. I got it because I'm a completionist.
Yeah, I am too.
Otherwise I wouldn't have
Yeah.
gotten it, because it kind of separates itself.
Yeah,
from
it's like
the theme. If there is a theme of the game, it kind of separates.
right. It's like, first of all, like there's already enough Munchkin stuff out there that it's like really gonna tie into this, and you can incorporate it into the base game. It's clunky with those treasures. Only specific factions from the Munchkin expansion, 4 of them or whatever, utilize the treasures and those spots and the monsters that go there that you have to fight. It's just like completely unnecessary. So if I had known that that was a standalone, I actually would have. I'd probably be on this list. It would kick the Champions of Midgard off and be on this list.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's good. But it is better than Champions of Midgard. Okay, so keeping on this track of games that Brad loves and I hate, my number 4 is Seven Wonders Duel. Only for sheer. By the way, I built my list off of the experience I've had with the game. Obviously, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, Seven Wonders Duel is very popular. That's not going on the list. I've only had bad experiences with Seven Wonders Duel, and you cannot tell me this because this is a problem. The expansion makes it better. It's like the game should have already been good enough.
The game.
But no, it's not. Like the fact that something. Okay, so Seven Wonders Duel, if you don't know, is a 2-player game of Seven Wonders. Which, by the way, Seven Wonders by itself has a way better 2-player variant than Seven Wonders Duel. Anyway, Rado's on my side. Anyway, Seven Wonders Duel, you have like kind of like, it's not really a pyramid, but like cards that some of them are face up and then the rest of them are face down in a certain shape. And the only cards you can take are the ones that are face up, and they overlap. So if I take the top one, it reveals 2 underneath it. Those get flipped. Now those are available, which already bothers me because you don't know what's under there. So it's like, I guess I'll take this one. Oh, there's the one I needed. Oh, you know I need that, so you're just gonna take it and fucking cash it in just so I can't have it. Like, now I'm not saying that everyone does that. I'm just saying that it's the fact that you can do that is a problem for me. Like, all I need to do is sit there, because you get points off of coins, is to sit there and be like, okay, so you're going for that science track? Nope, I don't need it.
Right.
Nope, I don't need it.
And
I understand it could reveal something that you do need, but chances of that happening are...
Right, but if they do that, they're getting 1 victory point on their turn.
Right.
That's it. There's
Right.
1 whole victory point.
Right.
And so they're wasting their turn when they could be getting
Right.
a 5-point.
I'm not even saying... I
deal
won.
or something.
I won that, but the fact, it's so annoying. It's like... And Seven Wonders Duel isn't the only game that stuff like this has happened, and I'm more than willing to give it another chance. But at this point in time, it deserves to be on this list until I play the expansion or play with someone who, because it's like, yeah, technically they're playing the game. That's a thing you can do. It's like, no, you're only supposed to do that when there's no better option to achieve your
And that
side.
could be any game, though. That's,
No, I
that's
know.
the thing.
That's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I've played a game of Merchants and Marauders where all someone did was just go back and forth to ports just doing rumors. They didn't do any of the other stuff. Technically they're playing, but they're not playing what's really how you're supposed to play the game. I don't know.
That's like my daughter's playing Kingsburg. Because I had a friend
Oh,
over.
and they just
had a
block
friend
you?
over and they look and saw that he had 6, so it didn't matter if they needed it or not. They just take
Yep.
it, steal, and screw.
Yep.
That's the same thing. So
Exactly.
That's why.
Right.
You know,
Ex-
7
yeah,
Wonders Duel is
people
kinda-
can be complete assholes in games.
But that's not the game's fault.
Right.
In my opinion.
Well, it is for someone to school because that's a valid thing, like to do, like just to be like, all right, I'm gonna do that, and
But they're never going to win. That's
No.
the thing if they do that.
that's my only experience
Right,
of people doing
right.
that. And I mean, ultimately, I did kind of like that war track, but even then, that was just. I just think it didn't need to be even made. Like Seven Wonders is already a very, very solid game that works for any number of players. That why make it again and just strictly make it 2-player? I don't know. And then I didn't really care for that whole bidding, like because even though there's card drafting, which I like way more, you have way more options to do that, and you're kind of like, it's not okay. I'm gonna take this card because I don't want him to have it. But I also really want to. It's like you don't have that same struggle in Seven Wonders Duel. I feel it's just a simple. Okay, well, none of these cards benefit us, but that one benefits him the most. Okay, I don't need it. I'll cash it. Reveal. Oh, good. There's a perfect card for you that you happen to get. Versus a draft where I have all these options where I'm like, oh, that's perfect for you.
Right. And I think
but-
that's the point. It's a filler game.
Yeah.
The duels. It's not meant to go. Fast
Right.
and
So,
there.
yep. So I mean, it's higher than Champions of Midgard. Hey, so Champions of Midgard, so that's my number 4, Seven Wonders Duel.
Well, you just picked off my top 2 games of 2015 because Duels was number 2.
Oh, you're not gonna like the other 3 I got.
All right.
Number 3 is Fire Team Zero. Number 4 is.
You just looked at my phone. My number 4 is a game I debated whether it needed to be on this list or not. I've only played it twice here in the last few months, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be, and it was just too clunky for what it needed to be. It's Mistfall.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That did come out in 2015. That
Yeah.
was one of those games it looked very
It looks
interesting.
awesome. That's the thing, and it kind of fit what I wanted, just by looks and kind of if you even look at this stuff. But then you're sitting there and everything is there's so much text and there's so much stuff, and it's I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one just because it seems overly complicated for what it needs.
For what it was.
Needs to be.
I know they added a bunch of expansions afterwards. It was one of those games that you see you see it in shelves and stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, but it's just not. It's not enough to make you go out and buy it. It's like, what is this about?
There's just, I mean, and
Deck building, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay.
But
I think that's why I was
so
turned off.
much text. I mean, there's so much like when I played it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we spent more time sitting here reading the stupid stuff than
Gotcha.
playing the game. And
Yeah.
it
That was
just
like where the tiles were missing. You had to go explore
Right, it was
out
just-
into it. Yeah.
It's
It's just a forgettable game.
yeah, very
Yep.
much so.
All right. So my number 3 is what's on your top 10? No. So my number 3 is actually probably to no one's surprise is Runebound 3rd edition. Now I understand that there are expansions out now that make it co-op. I haven't played those. Why would I whenever I didn't like the base game? So the Runebound 2nd edition I think is great. And I have it again, but I sold it the first time when 3rd edition came out. I was like, oh great, I don't have to spend $800 on expansions for 2nd edition because people just gouge those prices. Runebound 3rd edition is a semi-cooperative game, which I'm slowly finding out I hate semi-co-ops.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure I can definitely find some exceptions, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense whenever it's like, okay, we have to work together, but only one of us can win. It's different than like Cutthroat Caverns, where from the get-go, we already know we can fuck each other over. Here's the problem with Runebound 3rd edition, though. is there's no player interaction at all. It's like, okay, so we're these heroes. We're trying to, level up enough to defeat. In the base game, it was a dragon or a sorcerer or a necromancer. And the dragon, you have a track. Once the track ends, the dragon shows up, and then he heads towards the city. If he gets to the city, then everyone loses. Or we can all go up and try and fight him, leaving each other alone, which is kind of forced to do anyway. So we're all playing our own game, not doing anything with each other, but we're just trying to race and kill the dragon first. And whoever does that just wins, or everyone loses. That bothers me so much. So that I already don't like. What I also hate is the fact that we can't mess with each other. In second edition, if you happen to get to the market, like in each city, there's cards that you can go buy. It's like, oh, that's really good, and everyone can see that's really good, and it's trying to get to the city, and you buy it. It's like, all right, and then Runebound third edition, you get a token, and I'll get to the tokens, or the runes or whatever they were called. But in second edition, if you did that, I could attack you, and I could impede your progress. I can take items from you, and this is like what this game. Even if it was semi-cooperative, where we're fighting each other, but really that makes more sense. As like, no, I'm trying to kill the dragon. You're in my way. Let me do that. Not like, hey, are you gonna? Oh, you did. You killed him. Okay, I guess you won. It's like it's a waste of time. Then they tried doing something new, which is fine, except it was stupid new with those tokens. Like, they're so dumb. They never flip enough. They never, it's never exciting. You're just
right.
I remember, I've done a run-through for this game, too. My friend, he had to fight some, and it's already hard from the get-go, which I'll explain unbalanced gameplay in a sec. But he took his tokens, and he's shaking his hand, and he's drops, and they're just and he's like, well, that was exciting. And they were the same. Then he does it again, same exact result. Mm-hmm. And I guess you could change and randomize it, take every one and flip it. You can do that if you want. Yeah, you shouldn't have to. It's dumb. So those are already stupid. Then you had, in the second edition, you had different colored tokens. They were green, orange, and red. No, green, blue, and yellow and red. I think there were 4 colors. And that was your scale of difficulty.
Right.
So I'm okay. I don't feel strong enough. I'm just keep fighting greens, and then level up like that. Now I feel like I'm blue. And then the dragon was in the red deck, so it's like I'm level up. I think I can attack red, and hopefully I find him and kill him. Mm-hmm. And that's a race. That's fine. Trying to level up. Third edition didn't do that. They had 3 colors, and they were for different types. So orange was just all creatures. Then you had quests, and then something else, which is completely unfair because the first orange token you get, it's like, oh look, it's an Etten. It rolls these, and someone else controls the creatures. They roll their dumb tokens, and they're like, I'm going to assign these to you. Oh, you're dead. Okay. Just from the get-go. It's like there's no scaling, there's no level up. It's just, that's base game. And that's all I've played. I'm sure I would like it would make more sense if, I don't even know if I would like it even co-op. I'm not going to give that game another chance. I don't want to waste the money on it. So Runebound 3rd edition is my number 3. Fair enough.
All right. My number 3. All right. This will be my first.
Your first weird kick. Is it a Kickstarter?
No.
Okay.
No. My number 3 is
Gloomhaven.
Pandemic season, Legacy Season 1.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Controversial.
Pandemic is a crappy game anyway. All
because you've never won.
Oh no, we.
Oh no, you like the dumb dice one because it's simple for you.
No, the dice is faster. The game is faster. But anyway, so I don't like Pandemic anyway. But then everybody was raving on Pandemic Legacy and talking about how the story and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it
because it's good.
And then, I open it up, it's all this cool stuff, the envelopes, the boxes, all this stuff, and I was like, okay, this might be pretty cool. And then we played through March, 3 months, and said hell with the game, because it just wasn't doing anything for anybody. We all hated it. My family refused to play it anymore. and I was just like, all right. So and it was the same. It was Pandemic, with a little bit of story behind it. I mean, I'm sure there's more. If you
about halfway through.
But I mean, I don't think if I mean, it didn't have much of a chance at the from the beginning,
Right.
because if you don't like
Pandemic, you're not gonna like Legacy,
you know,
because it's, especially season 1. I'm sure season 2, because it flips it on its head.
Right, but I mean, I've just never have been a fan of the Pandemic stuff, and then that came out, and I think as good as people thought it was,
Mhm.
I still think it was overhyped. To
Oh, I would
clear
agree.
up to number 1.
Yeah, that's
And
ridiculous.
All that stuff as
Yeah.
fast as it did, just like Gloomhaven. How it jumped. I mean, it may be the number 1 game eventually, but to go to number 1 in
Jump so
6 months
quick,
after
yeah.
it came out, and stuff. But anyway, that's another discussion
Right.
for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I definitely don't think Pandemic Legacy is the worst game.
it's the third worst.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's the third worst.
But no, I mean, I thought season 1 was great if you stuck through with the story. But I already like Pandemic a lot. But I mean, even at this point, after season 2, I just did Rising Tide,
Mhm.
and I'm getting there where I'm like, enough with fucking Pandemic,
Yeah.
like. But it's a different theme. Shut up! It's the same thing. That could be just because I finally finished the story of season 2. I'm just burned out.
Yeah.
There's only so much Pandemic you can take, where you're just like you can only have so many conversations of, you're gonna go here, I'm gonna give you this card, and then we're gonna do that.
That's what I think I like about the dice version,
Mm,
is because it's random. The dice pulling out, it simulates the
the
card
the
stuff,
Infect deck.
the-
Okay.
But then you also have your own personal set of dice that you're rolling, so it adds more randomness. So it can't be as
Predictable.
planned and predictable.
So that's my favorite part of
You know,
Pandemic,
like-
is that uncertainty at the beginning, but then the epidemic happens and now you can plan. Unlike a lot of people's complaint with Arkham or Talisman is like, well, everything's random and there's nothing you can do, and that's a complaint. It's like, okay, well, Pandemic is initially like that, but then you can plan, and
Right.
you have that controlled chaos. And Rather does a good. It's like a roller coaster, It's like extreme intensity, then it mellows out. Then it's intense again. It's not just constant. And that's fine. That's fine. Like, I'm sure your hate for Pandemic is a lot more than my hate for Champions of Midgard, but mine's justified. Anyway, so my number
My
2.
game got thrown away.
Huh?
My Pandemic got thrown away.
Well, because you couldn't sell it, because you already used it.
Yeah.
No one wants hand-me-downs. No one wants sloppy seconds. So speaking of sloppy seconds, my number 2 is probably the worst hidden movement game out there. Can you guess it? You guess the worst hidden movement game in the world
I know
ever?
you like those two. I'm thinking.
Okay, I was like, what's over
I know you like Fury of Dracula and Whitechapel.
Yep.
Hidden movement. I'm gonna say Spectre Ops.
Spectre Ops is my number 2. Did you just get this?
No, I don't.
Oh, you have? You don't have it? Okay.
No.
So
I've never even played it, but I know what it is.
Spectre, I don't get it. I don't get Spectre Ops. Like, there are so much better hidden movement games. He just mentioned 2. Fury of Dracula, it's a long game, but intense the entire time. Letters from Whitechapel, intense the entire time. So roughly same play. Hunt for the Ring now, which is also really good. And then there's Spectre Ops, which is like if you're the one hiding, you're moving on this grid, you have to get to certain nodes, be like, I'm there, or I've done it, and then you have to do a certain amount, and then escape. Which is already dumb, because your escape spots are fixed points on the board, so it's like, oh, you're gonna get there? Okay, and then you can just puppy guard the entire time, with the person, and the people can just be like, nope, you're not getting there. It's not that, like, the Letters from Whitechapel, they don't have to figure out where your hideout is. It's not like Hunt for the Ring or Letters from Whitechapel where they have to, or Fury of Dracula where they have to figure out where you are, and in Hunt for the Ring they have to corrupt you, in Fury of Dracula they have to kill you. And so it's like they can just stop you, and what's really dumb is the abilities of the people hunting you are so overpowered. Like, it's completely broken. Like, unlike the other ones where they're situational, like Fear of Dracula, both Dracula and the Investigator cards are really good and situational as well. In Letters from My Chapel, there's no abilities. Actually, the expansion added abilities. It was an alright expansion. But the Letters from My Chapel is just, figure out where he's at. It's real true deduction. Spectre Ops is, okay, I have some of my abilities, but they're like one-time use. Oh, and you have the puppet that can control the car, and you just do an action to beep it out, and it has a radius, and it's like, oh, and it tells you exactly where you're at. It's like, at this point, why even try to hide? Just be like, hey, I'm on 50. I'm moving to 53. Okay. Oh, but if you run past someone, like, there's these alleyways that they can have a chance to see you, and it's like, that's why I just hate this game so much. Out of all if it was like, maybe it's like, if it was the only hidden movement game on the market, it would be interesting. Be like, okay, how do I get past this stupid car that can just, the puppet can like move it. Otherwise, everyone has to get in and they have to drive it somewhere. Mm-hmm. But why not just always play with the puppeteer who can move it on its own and then like beep beep and it's like whoop and it's like, oh, okay, I guess you saw me. Like if you move out into the alley, like what you can do is you can move out and then like psych them out, and then they think you're that way. Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's the shittiest hidden movie like that I've played anyway. So that's my number 2, Spectre Ops.
My number 2 is a game I'm pretty positive you haven't played. It was a Kickstarter game. I believe it's
I backed it.
Academy Games,
yep.
I think is who made
Best
it.
company ever.
Which they've done a lot of really cool games.
Okay.
Academy, you know,
Sports and Outdoors.
Mare Nostrum. And all I think they did. I'm not going to go. They did a bunch. They've done a bunch of Kickstarter games.
Okay.
So this one is called Fief France 1429.
Okay. Fief.
Fief. F-I-E-F.
Not FIFA.
No, just Fief.
Okay.
Fief France 1429. Friend of mine backed this, went all in on it, got all the plastic buildings and everything, and he was trying to talk it up so much because he spent so much money on it.
Oh yeah, what is that called? Buyer's remorse?
And then we went and we
no,
played
it's
it.
good, I swear.
And we went and we played it, and I don't know, the board looks like crap, I think, and the art, everything, the art's horrible, I think.
Okay.
The game is area control, but there's marrying, like you're marrying so like that's how you make your alliances with the other factions of France, is you marry off because you have family members and you're marrying off your daughter to this person and doing all this different stuff. So you also have to vie for, if you have a certain number, there's voting to try to become the Pope or you know, the bishop, stuff like this. You know, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain because Academy games are pretty in depth. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't. I would rather smack my head against the wall a few times.
To look it up now.
Like I said,
Fief.
Yeah, F-I-E-F.
F-I-E-F.
Yeah, and a fief is like a
France 1429. The expansions. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of. It's really bland, and
it should be. It has a 7.5.
Yeah, for war, I think for like the type of people that like those like really deep, like not really war games, but
like the Axis and Allies kind of stuff.
Kind of stuff like that. I think is the kind of people that would like that.
This seems like one of those games that came out kind of like Glorious Fall, which was about the Byzantine Empire, where they tried to do those obscure history things, which should be touched on but implemented better.
And I think he ruined my friend ruined it for a lot of us because he was like, it's all this diplomacy and all this awesome stuff, and we got all these plastic buildings and all this stuff, and then we get there and it's like, it's the worst game at. It was just, and I wanted to like it because that would have been, as I played it when we got it, played it shortly after it came out. Obviously, it's been out a few years.
Yeah.
But it just didn't. It just wasn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. You shouldn't have to want to like a game.
Right.
Like I had a friend one time. He was like, He's like, Seth, I feel like you need to play a game at least 3 times before you can make a judgment. It's like, I completely disagree. You should,
Right.
like, I've played enough games by now that I know if I'm going to like it or not. Now, situations, exceptions arise. Seven Wonders Duel, play with the expansion. I still have the rule. It should be good by itself. Expansions should only enhance the experience, not fix stuff. And then, or games like Champions of Midgard, number of players. And mindset can go into it. There's a lot of stuff, but it's like, you can pretty much gauge a good, understanding of how a game works. And even if you don't, if there's any doubt, don't review a game.
Yeah.
Don't be like, well, I didn't really understand how the game worked, so it sucked. It's like, that's, what?
Not to mention, really quick, when you have an alliance and you get an alliance broken, you're ruined.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, it crushes you.
Does it?
When you lose an alliance and something happens?
I sound like I'm humoring
and
you.
it's-
Does it?
And it's so hard to
come back.
from stuff like that. So
That seems to be a lot of negotiation alliances games, except Rising Sun does a good job. Now you're gonna, because you still get to do all the double actions. For example, this is kind of going off topic, but like on the topic of negotiation screwing you over.
Right.
If you just happen to betray someone, then it's like that ruins your game. Really, your game should not be so hinged on allying with people that you're sitting there for no point. But yeah, it's a tough balance to bring negotiation into a game and make it work.
Right.
Because it's like, it should only give you a bonus, not be a necessity in a game. Well, it looks like shit, so.
It is.
Weird theme, too.
Yeah.
I was-
Still a crappy Frankenstein. It's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
Oh man, that's great, though.
Oh, Daniel General.
Oh, yeah. All right, can you guess my number 1? I highly doubt it.
I doubt
I'm
it.
just going to go ahead and say it. It's Pirates of the Seven Seas.
Yeah.
So, this was actually released around the same time the Rattle Battle Grab the Loot came out, where they did that, your ships are dice, and you take them all up, shake them, and you drop them, and then that's
Oh,
like how
really?
you battle.
I think I remember hearing about it.
I think Pirates of the Seven Seas came out first, and I think Ignacy liked the idea of that so much. I think he paid the company or to be able to use it in his own game. Here's the thing: they play completely different, except for that drop mechanic. That's it, which is a cool mechanic. I do like that. Except Pirates of the Seven Seas is a ridiculous amount of you have these people that you pick from. Mission Red Planet does the same thing, and you all choose who you want to use, and you flip them. Well, the cards have an ability, and you get a bonus if you're the only one who does that card, and you get a bonus if you're first player.
Okay.
If you're not first player, you're not going to get that, and if you're not the first, but you still get to do like a general ability.
Okay.
Here's where this game completely falls flat, only because Rattle Battle I think is a better game.
Okay.
So with the dice, you shake them up and you drop them, and then you just look at the values, who's closer, and then you just do that. And you're like, okay, so I was closer to you here, I kill you, and so pretty much anyone who rolled a 6 is just gonna kill
It's gonna rail
everybody around him.
Fun.
That was it. In Rattle Battle, you don't fight each other at all. So it's like if you and I are playing, it's also a really good 2-player game. If you and I are fighting, we send our ships in. Then there's a scenario that's like, okay, here are these ships, these NPCs that you take, and you only fight them. And they have different objectives. Hey, you get extra loot if you kill the orange die, but the orange die is a really tough one, and if it has this symbol, then it's a value 5 or whatever. Or if it rolls the ship, it escapes, so now no one gets extra loot. But we never fight each other. We only kill them. So whoever's closest.
Okay.
And then there's abilities like in Pirates, all you did was drop, and it was like, okay, that's that. In Rattle Battle, you have sails that you can flip to move to get closer to NPCs. So it's like, oh, you're really close, but I think I can touch him and board him.
Okay.
Then, oh dear God, okay, Pirates. So you have your cards. Well, through multiple means, you can get these black spot dice. And, well, first of all, you get these tokens.
Black spot dice?
Yeah, like in Dead Man's
Black
Chest.
spot.
Yep, yeah, that's pretty much what they were called. And anyway, there's ways you can store your treasure over on your island, and you had to send enough ships over there to protect it. Because you can get, I think, up to 10 dice, but you had to send enough to protect your chest, or I think people could steal it. What happens is these black spots, which you get through various means, curses, you know, losing ships, not getting enough gold, like meeting certain objectives.
Right.
The scaling of negative points is so outrageous that you pretty much, if you get them, which is very difficult to not do, you have to actively be like, I don't want those, and just like focus so hard on that. Like, I think if you got 5, it's like negative 30 points, and you don't get enough. So it's like, because you know, you go up on a point track. Gold is obviously worth points and stuff. That it's like you pretty much spent the entire time, and you can't get rid of them. Like they're permanent. So if you get one, you're getting negative points. There's no way to release them. And yeah, there's one card in there that's like the hex. Like if you have a hex card, you can play it on people and screw them over, and it can affect the sweet drop mechanic. I don't know. Well, first of all, both these games kind of fell flat. Like it was like a gimmick, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, we're gonna go play other games. But I kept Rattle Battle, Grab the Loot, because I like that you build your ship,
right?
Like, and it's super cool, and you're completely different than all the other players. That it can help you in these scenarios. Or Pirates, you didn't do any of that. You just had a card that you pick, and you're like, okay, face down. Oh, I'm not first player. I guess I have the shitty. Oh, that's what it was. One of the cards was if you can recall all your ships back, but you have to take a black spot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's not worth it. That completely, those negative points completely killed this game for us.
So who makes it?
I do not remember actually.
Because I've only heard about it.
Oh, and it comes in a tin box as well.
That's another crap.
Forbidden Desert does that too. But Forbidden Desert's a good game.
Those are charming games, though.
Huh?
Those are charming games.
Exactly. Pirates was not.
I'm kind of excited for the Sky.
Forbidden Sky.
Yeah, that'll be
I am
neat.
too. All right. Forbidden Seas. Oh, apparently they have an expansion called Black Friday.
Black Friday.
It is IDW.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's right. Pegasaurus. Is that right?
Huh?
What is that symbol? Oh, it's a treasure chest. It looked like a dinosaur.
Oh. Because IDW did Fire and Axe. And
That's right. No, the remake by IDW was Pegasaurus.
Well, it was both. IDW.
Was it? Oh, it was both. Okay.
Pandasaurus, yeah.
Pandasaurus. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pegasaurus. Pandasaurus. Yep. The same ones who did.
Dino Island.
Yep. So that's my number one. Pirates of the Seven Seas.
All right, my number one. You have any guess at all?
In 2014, Forbidden Stars.
2015.
2015.
No.
Okay, I have no idea when that game came out anyway.
It is Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers.
Oh, okay. I was like, Magic the Gathering, dude, that's like 80s.
The reason I put this on here is because, popular opinion is going to say why this game is my number one. Because when you can go to Walmart and you can spend as much to buy this entire game as you can one pack of Magic cards, then something's wrong.
No way.
Yeah, they were selling for $4. Each one of these at $4 a piece at Walmart.
Wow.
I think they messed themselves over a little bit because they released this one. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is cool. It's got more terrain for HeroScape. This is gonna be like Magic with HeroScape." And then it took forever for them to get an expansion out.
Oh, okay.
And then people, I think, just kind of
didn't care.
Didn't care anymore, and then it just fell off the face of the earth.
Was this the one where it came with 2 complete decks? It was actually on
there's
the
4
board.
minis. You
Okay.
have 4 planeswalkers, some terrain, and then some decks for the people.
Okay.
The worst minis I've ever seen. They're pre-painted, but they're horrible minis.
Who did this game? Same people who made Assault on the Giants.
It would have probably had to have been.
What was it
It would
called?
have been the company that does the Magic cards, I think.
The Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, it was done by Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
you
keep
got
going.
5 planeswalkers actually, but
Ooh.
But it was just, like I said, I'm not joking. Like you can buy this game at Walmart right now for the cost of 1 Magic card pack. It's
Well.
and some people were buying these just to get the terrain for HeroScape.
For HeroScape or the cards
You know.
for Magic.
Right. It was just a complete
Yeah.
crap, and the minis were horrible.
They do kind of look like it.
And you know, it's that's really all I have to say about it.
All right, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, Forrest. So those are our worst games of 2015. Let us know what your worst games of 2015 are in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.